NVIDIA employees, do you have too much in your NVIDIA stock? In this video, we'll cover 3 topics. Why you should care if you have too much in your NVIDIA stock, 3 simple steps to figure out if you have too much in your NVIDIA stock, and what you should do if you have too much in your NVIDIA stock. Why should you care if you have too much in your NVIDIA stock? Well, I talk with clients all the time about this concept of concentration, which simply means you have too much of a single company stock. My general guideline, if it's more than 20% of your total net worth, then it's probably too much. And that's because you have a ton more risk and volatility if you're holding a single company stock versus a diversified portfolio. Now, let me tell you a quick story to help you understand what this risk really means. So you probably haven't heard of, there's a company in the late 90s, a high-flying energy company called Enron. And Enron was a stock that everybody loved. Main Street loved it, Wall Street loved it. It went from a few dollars a share up to almost $90 a share in early 2000. And then some bad news came out. There were accounting irregularities and the stock dropped to almost nothing within a few months. Now, the big issue was that there were Enron employees who, when they contributed to the 401k, they could actually invest in Enron stock. Their company match for the 401k was in company stock, and they could also invest through the employee stock purchase plan, and they could buy stock on their own. So there were Enron employees who had millions of dollars in their retirement account and in stock that was all in Enron. And so when this bad news came out, they lost almost all of their retirement, almost all of their net worth overnight with something that happened that was completely beyond their control. So that is the real risk in being too highly concentrated in your NVIDIA stock. That is why you should care if you're an NVIDIA employee and you have too much in your NVIDIA stock. All right, well, how should you figure out if you have too much in your NVIDIA stock? Okay, here are 3 simple steps to follow to figure that out. Okay, step 1 is calculate the total value of your NVIDIA stock. So this could be your RSUs, this can be your ESPP, any way you have NVIDIA stock. Just take the number of shares times the current value, that gives you the value of your NVIDIA stock. Step 2 is calculate the value of your other investable assets. So that's assets like savings, investments, retirement accounts, your 401k. Add all of that up. You take your value of your NVIDIA stock, you add it to your investable assets, and then step 3 is you take the value of your NVIDIA stock, divide it by the value of your total investable assets. That gives you a percentage. And if that percentage, that's your percentage of concentration, if that percentage is greater than, my general guideline is 20%, then you're highly concentrated and you should think seriously about diversifying out of your NVIDIA. So quick example, let's say you have 1,000 shares of your NVIDIA stock. Stock's at $800 a share, that's $800,000. That's the value of NVIDIA stock. You add up the total value of other investable assets. So let's say savings, investments, retirement, 401k is a total of 1.2 million. So then your 800,000 plus your 1.2 means you have a total net worth of 2 million. So you take your 800,000 of NVIDIA stock value divided by your 2 million. That means you're at 40% concentration. So you're more than the 20%, so you're highly concentrated. So you should think seriously about diversifying out of your NVIDIA stock. All right, well, if you have too much, you've figured out you have too much in NVIDIA stock, what should you do next? So I suggest you take a few steps. 1 is figure out if you have any valid near-term cash needs. That means goals that you have that you need in the near term. So examples would be you have to pay taxes, you need to set up an emergency fund, you want to make a down payment in the next year or 2. So what I would do is cash out as much NVIDIA stock immediately so that you can meet those goals. Then if this NVIDIA stock goes down, you'll still have be able to pay your taxes, have an emergency fund, or be able to pay your down payment. Step 2 would be, most of my clients want to hold on to a certain percentage because they believe in the company. And so You need to figure out what percentage you want to hold on for the long term. I recommend somewhere between 5 to 10% of your total net worth, but you need to figure out what percent you're comfortable with. So once you figure that out, then you can, let's say you say it's 10%, then take your total stock, set aside 10%, you're left with the remaining 90%. Okay. Step 3 would be, then you need to build a selling plan. Okay. And there are a few high level options to do that. One is just sell everything immediately. That's simple. You get it done. You don't have to worry about the stock going up and down. Most of my clients aren't comfortable with that. Another version is scheduled selling over time. And what that means is, for example, you could say I'm going to sell 25% a quarter over the next 4 quarters. So every quarter comes, I'm going to sell it. I don't care if the price is high or low. It's on autopilot. Now, the benefits are you don't sell on the single wrong day. So the price will go up and down. You aren't going to happen to sell at a low point. The second benefit is you can spread the tax out over multiple years. Okay? So figure out what schedule you're comfortable with. It could be 25% a quarter over 4 quarters. It could be 10% a quarter over 10 quarters. You just have to figure out what pace you're comfortable with. And then the third way to do this is you could do scheduled selling, and you sell more when the price is higher. So you could set price bands every quarter, you sell that percentage. So for example, if you said, okay, if the price is below 800, I'm going to sell 15%. If the price is between 800 and 900, I'll sell 25%. If the price is greater than 900, I'll sell 50%. So each quarter you say, okay, where's the price? And then you sell that percentage, okay? Again, you don't worry about the stock. If the stock is up or down, you just follow the plan that you've laid out. The benefit of the scheduled selling is, like I said, it is you aren't gonna pick the wrong single day. You spread your taxes out over multiple years. Also, it minimizes the emotion because you're following this plan that you've put together and you aren't worrying about whether it's up or down. To recap, the reason you should care if you have too much of your NVIDIA stock is you can lose a lot of your net worth very quickly with something that happens beyond your control. And then I told you the 3 steps to figure out if you have too much in your NVIDIA stock. Calculate the total value of your NVIDIA, calculate the total value of investable assets, figure out the percentage of NVIDIA. If it's more than 20%, you're highly concentrated and you should consider diversifying. And then what you should do, if you do have too much of your NVIDIA stock, first identify if you have any near-term cash needs, sell and cover those. Decide if you want to set aside a certain percentage for the long term. If you do, set that percentage of stock aside. Step 3, decide on a selling plan. You could either sell immediately, you can do scheduled selling over time, so a certain percentage every quarter, or you could set price ranges and sell that percent depending on where the price is each quarter. So I hope that's helpful. My name's Tom Lowe. I'm a financial planner that specializes in helping tech professionals, including NVIDIA employees, feel confident that they're making the right decisions with their RSUs. If you want to ask your own specific questions about your NVIDIA stock, feel free to go to my website at vestedfinancialplanning.com, and you can schedule a free virtual consultation, and I'd be happy to chat with you about it. Thank you very much.